In this video, I will show you how to replace the instrument cluster in a 4th generation Kia Sportage. Before we begin, disconnect the negative terminal of the battery. This will prevent electrical shorts and protect the vehicle's electronics while you are working on the instrument cluster. The first step is to remove the crash pad lower panel, the large trim piece that sits directly under the steering column. The panel is held in place with 4 screws. One screw is located at the front lower corner, and the other 3 are hidden along the side behind the dashboard side cover. To remove that side cover, start by looking along its lower edge. You will notice a small rectangular notch. This is where you will insert your trim tool. Before you begin prying, pull back the rubber door weather strip just enough to expose the edge of the panel. Now insert a plastic trim tool into the notch and gently pry the side cover outward. The cover is secured only by clips, so use steady even pressure until each clip releases and the panel pops free. With the side cover off, you can now reach the 3 screws on the side of the lower panel. Using a Phillips head screwdriver, remove all 4 screws, 3 along the side and single screw at the front. With all 4 screws removed, you can begin pulling the lower panel outward. Take your time with this step. There are several plastic clips along the edges, and you will feel them releasing gradually as you work your way around. Pay close attention to the bottom right corner of the panel. This section is interlocked with the side trim near the door opening. Pull the weather strip back in that area and carefully separate the 2 trim pieces by releasing the clip. Once that corner is free, lift the panel slightly upward to unhook it completely. Some of the clips may feel very tight, especially in this area. Avoid pulling too hard and gently release the clips one by one. Before removing the panel from the vehicle, keep in mind that the OBD diagnostic port is attached to the back side. Remove the 2 screws on the OBD port, then slide it out of its bracket. Now the lower panel is completely free and you can take it out. With that out of the way, we can now remove the instrument switch panel. The instrument panel is held in place by 2 screws, one on the side and another at the front. Use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove both the screws. With the screws removed, the instrument panel is still held in place by multiple clips. It is also held in place by 2 clips on the side. To release them, use a plastic trim removal tool. Slide the tool carefully between the panel and the dashboard. Then gently twist or pry to unhook the tabs without damaging the trim. Once the side clips are free, you can start pulling the panel outward. As you pull, the remaining clips along the edges will release. Be careful as the panel comes free, because the wiring harness is still connected at the back. To disconnect it, press the locking tab on the connector and pull it straight out. With the instrument panel out of the way, we can now see a screw that is securing the cover for the instrument cluster. However, there is one more screw on the other side of the cover that must be removed. It is hidden behind the crash pad garnish or the long trim piece that runs across the dashboard. So we must remove this trim to access the hidden screw. To remove the long trim piece, the first step is to slightly lift the upper cover of the center console, since the 2 panels overlap each other. Before lifting the console cover, move the gear shifter into neutral. So how do you do it with the engine turned off? Simple. Locate the small plastic cap next to the shifter labeled as Shift Lock Release. Then use a flathead screwdriver to lift up the cover. Underneath, you will find the Shift Lock Release button. Press and hold the button, then slide the shifter out of park and into neutral position. Doing this gives you extra clearance to lift the panel without obstruction. Always make sure the parking brake is engaged, or place wheel chocks behind the tires to prevent the vehicle from rolling while you are working. Now grab the console cover near the armrest area with a firm hold and begin pulling upward. As you lift, you will feel and hear the plastic clips releasing one by one. Work slowly and steadily along the edges, applying even pressure to avoid cracking the trim or breaking the clips. Once the entire console cover is free and lifted, you will have enough space and clearance to safely remove the long trim piece without obstruction. The long trim piece is secured with several clips, plus a screw that's hidden behind the side panel on the passenger side of the dashboard. Look for a small notch near the bottom edge of the side panel. This is where you will begin prying. Before you do that, pull back the rubber weather strip along the door frame. Gently peel the seal away just enough to expose the edge of the side panel. Next, take a plastic trim removal tool or a flathead screwdriver and insert it into the rectangular notch. Carefully pry the panel outward. The panel is held by clips, so use steady even pressure working along the edges until all the clips release. With the side panel removed, you will now see the hidden screw near the upper edge. Remove this screw with a Phillips head screwdriver. With the screw out, we can safely pull out the long trim. The trim piece is hooked in by 2 clips on the side, so it's best to start prying from this end first. Slide a pressing trim removal tool or flathead screwdriver between the trim and the dashboard and gently pry the edge outward to release the clips. Take your time and work slowly to avoid bending or cracking the trim. Once both side clips are released, you can move along the length of the trim, continuing to apply even steady pressure. The remaining clips will pop free one by one as you move along. Continue until the entire trim is free from the dashboard. Then set it aside in a safe place where it won't get scratched. With the long trim out of the way, we finally have access to the other screw. However, we cannot remove this yet. If you look closely, the center panel that houses the AC buttons and start-stop button is hooked into the cover of the instrument cluster, so we will have to remove this panel first. The AC panel is held in place by 4 screws, 3 at the top and 1 screw near the bottom next to the steering column. Use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove all 4 screws. With the screws out, carefully slide the AC panel forward. It is still secured by a few retaining clips, so work slowly and use gentle, even pressure as you go. The one clip that is hooked into the instrument panel cover is a lot harder to remove. You may have to apply a bit more force to remove this one. If it does not come loose, wiggle it back and forth while applying outward pressure. After removing the stub-on clip, the center AC panel is free. There are multiple wiring harnesses connected at the back of the panel. We do not have to remove them. The panel is unhooked from the instrument cluster cover, so you can remove it without any obstruction. Use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove both the screws on the instrument cluster cover. Once the screws are out, gently pull the cover outward. It's held in place by 4 clips near the top, so apply even pressure as you release them to avoid breaking the clips of the cover. After the clips are free, the cover will come free. However, it is still attached to the steering column top cover. To remove it, just pull up the top cover. It is held in place by clips only and very easy to remove. Here is a close-up of the instrument cluster cover and the steering column top cover. With that out of the way, we can finally remove the instrument cluster. It is held in place by 4 screws, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. Use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove all 4 screws. With the screws out, the instrument cluster is ready to be pulled out. There are no clips behind the cluster. You just grab it and pull it out. It will slide out without any resistance. Be careful here, as there is a wiring harness connected at the back of the instrument cluster. Before you remove the connector, place a microfiber cloth over the top of the steering column. This will protect the cluster from scratches while you remove it. Now press the tab on the side of the connector, then pull the connector straight out. Easier said than done, as this connector can be very tightly seated. I initially tried to pull it out by hand several times, but it wouldn't budge. I even tried using adjustable pliers to get a better grip, but that did not work as well. What worked for me is using a large flathead screwdriver to press the tab on top while pushing out the connector. This method allowed the connector to be safely removed without damaging the wiring or the connector. With the wiring harness disconnected, we can finally remove the instrument cluster from the dashboard. Be careful not to scratch the instrument cluster or the leather on the steering wheel as you slide it out. Here is a close-up of the instrument cluster. This is the part number. Keep in mind that depending on your model or production date, the replacement part may differ slightly, so always double check compatibility before ordering. To reinstall the instrument cluster, position it next to its mounting area and reconnect the electrical connector at the back. Press it into the socket until it clicks and the locking tab is fully engaged, ensuring a secure connection. Once the connector is in place, carefully position the cluster back onto the dashboard opening. Align it with the mounting points and gently slide it in, making sure it sits flush without forcing it. After the cluster is properly seated, reinstall all 4 screws, one at each corner. Tighten them evenly but avoid over-tightening to prevent cracking the trim or the cluster housing. Once the instrument cluster is securely in place, it's time to reinstall the cluster cover and the steering column cover. Align the cover with the front of the instrument cluster and gently press it into position. There are 4 large clips near the top and 2 small clips on the sides that will click into place as you apply even pressure. To reinstall the top steering column cover, simply align it with the bottom half and press it straight down into place. Then reinstall the 2 screws on the bottom corners of the instrument cluster cover using a Phillips head screwdriver. As you finish reinstalling the instrument cluster and its cover, take a moment to make sure everything is flush and properly aligned. Next, it's time to reinstall the center AC panel. Carefully align the panel with its mounting points on the dashboard and slide it into position. Push it in until all the clips snap into place. Once the panel is seated correctly, reinstall the 4 screws. Make sure the panel sits flush with the surrounding trims and everything lines up neatly. Now it's time to reinstall the long trim piece. Carefully align the trim with the dashboard, making sure all the clips line up with their slots. Start by pressing in the driver's side first. Once these side clips are secure, work your way along the length of the trim, pressing evenly to snap all remaining clips into place. Make sure the trim sits flush with the surrounding dashboard panels and aligns neatly with the adjacent panels. Reinstall the single screw on the side of the long trim. Next, reinstall the side cover on the passenger side of the dashboard. Align the cover with its mounting points and gently press it in until all the clips snap back into place. Once that's done, carefully press the weather strip back into its original position. Next, reinstall the top cover of the center console. Carefully align the cover with the edges of the console and gently press it straight down into place. Make sure all clips along the sides and front engage fully so the cover sits flush with the surrounding dashboard and console trim. You can now move the gear shifter back into park position. Next, reinstall the instrument switch panel. First, reconnect the wiring connector on the back by pressing it straight into the socket until it clicks, ensuring the locking tab is fully engaged. Once the connector is secure, carefully align the switch panel with the dashboard and press it into place. With the instrument panel fully seated, reinstall the 2 screws that you removed earlier. Next, reinstall the crash pad lower panel. Before placing the panel back, make sure to reinstall the OBD diagnostic port by sliding it into its holder and securing it with 2 screws. Once the OBD port is in place, align the lower panel with the dashboard and gently press it into position, making sure all the clips along the edges engage fully. Also, make sure it is properly hooked into the side panel. Gently press on the side panel to make sure it is clipped into the lower panel. Then reinstall the 4 screws, 3 along the side and 1 at the front. Now reinstall the side cover on the driver's side of the dashboard. Align the cover with its mounting points and gently press it into place, making sure all clips engage. After the side cover is in place, carefully press the rubber weather strip back along the door frame. The reassembly is now complete. Finally, reconnect the negative terminal of the battery. Make sure the connection is tight and secure. Start the engine and take a close look at the instrument cluster, verifying that all gauges, warning lights, and displays are functioning correctly. Check the speedometer, tachometer, fuel gauge, and other indicators to ensure everything is working normally. If everything operates normally, you have successfully replaced and reinstalled the instrument cluster. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe to Giant for more DIY automotive repair guides. Thanks for watching.